The bustling city plaza froze as Officer Harding slammed his hand down, forcefully grabbing the shoulder of 9-year-old Flora, his face contorted in a sneer. "I told you to go home. We don't need kids of your background telling us how to catch criminals. Now move before I arrest you for obstruction." Harding's voice was the sound of a man who believed his badge was absolute. Flora, a child of dark complexion with eyes that saw every detail, didn't flinch. She looked at the officer with chilling, calm precision. "Officer Harding, you didn't just grab me. You just missed a real thief walking past us." The Cadillac CT5-V Blackwing outside belongs to the chief of police, who's about to see you assault his daughter. The sudden shriek of a distant police siren, growing rapidly louder, signaled the end of Harding's arrogant profiling. The midday sun glared off the polished chrome of a sleek Cadillac CT5-V Blackwing as it idled quietly by the curb of the city's bustling Centennial Plaza. This wasn't just a luxury sedan. It was a command vehicle of power, a discreet symbol of the city's highest authority. Stepping out was Flora, a 9-year-old whose mind processed visual data faster than the plaza security cameras. Flora wasn't just observing the crowds. She was mapping them. She held a custom-built miniature drone, barely larger than her palm, with a 360-degree camera feed linked to her holographic tablet. She was here with her mother, who worked in city planning, to document foot traffic patterns for a new park initiative. But to Officer Harding, a man who saw criminals in every shadow, and especially in those of dark complexion, Flora was just a suspicious child in a place he considered his domain. "There's been a snatch and grab at the jewelry boutique," Harding barked into his radio. His eyes narrowed as he surveyed the diverse crowd, looking for a male, 6-foot, hooded sweatshirt, blue backpack. "Officer, the suspect you're looking for is a female, 5'4", wearing a red baseball cap, carrying a green messenger bag," Flora stated, her voice a small but steady baritone that cut through the plaza's noise. "She just ducked into the coffee shop. My drone has thermal imaging, and she has a high heart rate." Harding laughed, a dry, mocking sound. "I don't need a child playing with toys to tell me how to identify a professional thief. In this plaza, my experience is a law. Now, put that drone away before I confiscate it as evidence." Flora moved to show him the live thermal feed from her drone, but Harding wanted a display of absolute dominance. The officer reached out and forcefully gripped Flora's arm, yanking her away from the crime scene tape. The physical violation was shocking. Harding pinned Flora against the side of his patrol car, his heavy hand pressing firmly against her small chest as he loomed over her like a thundercloud. "I said stay back," Harding hissed, his face contorted in a sneer. "You think because you have a fancy toy and a rich mother that you can interfere with an investigation? You're a witness. You're a child. And right now you're impeding justice." Flora suffered the physical contact with a stoic, terrifying dignity. She felt the cold metal of the patrol car against her back. "Officer Harding, you are currently committing a physical assault and ignoring direct evidence. I suggest you remove your hand before the real thief escapes and the footage of you assaulting a minor goes public." Harding didn't listen. He ratcheted the pressure on Flora's shoulder, shoving her toward a nearby bench. "The public listens to me. I am the face of law and order." He forcefully shoved Flora onto the bench, nearly causing her to hit her head against a stone. The tension in the plaza was suffocating. Harding's partner, Officer Chun, stared at his own dashboard computer, his face turning a ghostly shade of white as the description of the actual thief, a female with a green messenger bag, came over the precinct radio. Harding stopped. The APB just changed. "The kid!" "She was right," Chin whispered, his voice trembling. "Not now, Chin. I'm securing the perimeter." Harding lied, his arrogance forcing him to double down as he signaled other officers to focus on the male suspect. A plainclothes detective, Leo, who had been observing the scene, pointed toward the coffee shop entrance. "Officer, look, the suspect in the red cap is making a break for the subway. She's dumping something." Harding turned on the detective, pointing his finger aggressively. "It's a false lead. Stick to your sector." Harding's refusal to listen to anyone, high or low status, created a pressure cooker of professional and personal ruin. Flora, sitting on the bench, pulled out her tablet and uploaded her drone footage to a private server. "Officer Harding, you forgot that my drone operates on an encrypted signal. I just uploaded the video of your assault and the thief's escape to the chief of police's direct line. And my dad's a general in the Pentagon. He doesn't like it when his daughter is physically harmed. Harding just mocked her. You're a kid with a cell phone. I am the authority here. The suspense reached a fever pitch as the actual thief, a woman in a red cap, sprinted past Harding, dropping a small, sparkling bracelet near Flora's feet. Harding, still focused on the wrong suspect, didn't even notice. Suddenly, the black Cadillac CT5-V Blackwing Flora had arrived and pulled up, sirens blazing. It wasn't just any Cadillac. It was the chief of police's personal vehicle. From the back seat emerged a woman of imposing authority, her eyes scanning the scene, then landing on her granddaughter, Flora, on the bench. Officer Harding. Chief Davis's voice boomed, carrying across the plaza. What in God's name are you doing to my granddaughter? The flow shifted from a local crime scene to a total exposure of Harding's incompetence and abuse. Harding panicked. He tried to apologize, to explain, but his words caught in his throat. Just before the shocking reveal, we want to take a quick moment to thank you for your support, love, and kindness. We wouldn't have come this far without you. Subscribing is one of the best ways you can help us. It's quick, free, and allows us to continue to bring you great content. Your support means everything. Let's keep this channel growing collectively. Where are you watching from? Drop your city and country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's get back to the story. Flora stood up from the bench, brushing off her shirt. She didn't use anger. She used the power of her truth. She pointed to the bracelet on the ground. Chief Davis, Flora said, her voice a razor-sharp blade of authority. Officer Harding ignored my drone footage, physically assaulted me, and let the real thief escape with the stolen goods she dropped 5 feet from him. My father's firm just acquired surveillance rights for this entire plaza. She turned her gaze to Officer Harding, who was now trembling. Officer Harding, Flora said quietly, you are no longer fit to wear that badge. The Cadillac outside belongs to my grandmother. Please remove your weapon. You are under investigation. The silence in the plaza was so thick it felt heavy. Officer Harding stood frozen, his hand still hovering over the radio he had used to broadcast false information. He watched as his own chief of police, Chief Davis, picked up the stolen bracelet near Flora's feet. The kid he had pinned against a patrol car was now standing with her grandmother, the chief, as the real thief was apprehended by other officers who had followed Flora's drone feed. Harding, you spent so much time looking at Flora's age and complexion that you completely missed the crime unfolding right in front of you, Chief Davis said, her voice a cold, measured fury. Flora didn't just spot a thief. She used a military-grade drone, encrypted her footage, and reported your physical assault to my private server. The Cadillac CT5-V Blackwing outside isn't just my car. It's my family's car, and she's my granddaughter. The power shift was absolute. The nuisance was revealed to be the chief's own granddaughter, equipped with advanced tech and a direct line to her grandfather, a Pentagon general. Officer Chun, Harding's partner, handed Flora the recovered bracelet, realizing that the 9-year-old was the only one with the integrity to see the truth. The truth reveal was a public execution of Harding's career. He had triggered his own downfall by violating protocol and assaulting a member of the chief's family. Chief, Flora, honey, it was a misunderstanding. I thought she was just playing. Harding pleaded, his voice cracking as news cameras, alerted by Flora's father, began to broadcast his face live across the city. We just did have a misunderstanding, Harding, Chief Davis replied, her voice a calm, sharp blade. You told me you were the authority in this plaza. Now, I'm the one who's revoking your authority. Chief Davis signaled to her personal security detail, the very officers Harding had tried to dismiss as backup. Gentlemen, Chief Davis said, Officer Harding is no longer fit to wear a badge. Please escort him off the premises, specifically before the press get a close-up of a disgraced officer in handcuffs. He's no longer an employee of this department. In front of the entire plaza and his stunned partner, Officer Chun, Harding was forced to stand as his badge was stripped from his chest. He was escorted past the grateful citizens he had failed to protect, and a young woman who had just been wrongly profiled. The public shaming was total. By the time he reached the end of the plaza, his face was plastered on every news outlet, and his career was over. Flora didn't just catch a thief. She reformed a department. Under her suggestions, Chief Davis instituted a mandatory community engagement program, teaching officers to value observation and communication over profiling and intimidation. Flora used her drone and her intellect to design a new, unbiased security system for the plaza, proving that true protection comes from seeing everyone equally. The moral resolution saw crime rates drop dramatically in the city, and public trust in the police department soared. Flora became a symbol of a new era of law enforcement, one built on intelligence and empathy rather than brute force and arrogance. Officer Harding, once the king of the plaza, was relegated to a footnote in departmental history, a man who lost his entire career because he couldn't control his bias against a 9-year-old who knew more about catching criminals than he ever would. Authority does not grant omniscience. When you treat someone with disrespect based on their age, their background, or their perceived status, you are blinding yourself to the truth they might offer. A badge is a tool for protection, not a shield for arrogance. The sharpest eyes are often found in the most unexpected places.